bet it's a bullet gonna get the last laugh.
This video will act as my non-spoiler review of the Tekken 8 story. I will be doing future videos where I break down individual chapters and individual moments, characters, their arcs, and things of that sort, but just talking generally in a non-spoiler way about the good and bad of Tekken 8 story. My expectations for the story, I'm realizing, is a lot higher than it should have been. And this is something that I said at the start, right? Tekken 7 has a lot of characters, and to have them all show up in the story is kind of impossible. If you look at the way Street Fighter do it, Mortal Kombat do it, they separate their rosters into teams. The only way Tekken 8 was going to survive is if they did the same thing. I had a lot of theories about Victor stabbing Lars in the back, Lars stabbing Jin in the back, but the reason why I felt like none of that stuff could come to fruition is because when you segment the teams that much and you have everyone kind of trying to get something else, it becomes too much to tell, too much to follow. As we've seen in the trailers, a lot of the characters are unified as one team. You're either with Jin or you're with Team Kazuya. There is no outliers in all of this. So that simplification of the narrative, it really doesn't allow for some characters to grow or some characters to even exist. As I was playing through the story, I couldn't help but compare it to Mortal Kombat, because even though Mortal Kombat had a horrible ending, they did a really good job with developing the characters. The journeys they went on really meant something. I think of Melina. Melina's journey from the beginning to the end is one of the best journeys throughout that whole story. You even had the bond between Johnny Cage and Kenshi. We saw over the development of the story, these two characters start to work together, and that hatred for one another turned into respect and also like a friendship. Johnny Cage eventually hands over the sword to him because he realizes like he just grows as a person. In Tekken, that is missing. That growth, that progression isn't there. They kind of try to do this, but in an opposite form with Law and Paul Phoenix, but it doesn't really work. We know these guys to be buddy buddies through thick and through thin. And as we saw in the trailer, Law was kicking Paul Phoenix in the chest, and this told a lot of us that Law will be working with Team Kazuya. And just seeing that the way that relationship devolved was pretty mediocre. It felt like something that they did to simply have Law on Team Kazuya's side. It wasn't predictable or believable at all. Now, I know I'm being very harsh on the story, but there was also some really good moments as well. I think the stars of the show, in my opinion, is Jin, Zhao Yu, and I want to say Lars as well. Even Leroy Smith was fire. I really love, let's talk about Leroy. Leroy Smith, his character, has a lot of potential. He is that wise master we think of, you know, the gray hair, wisdom. For this to be his first time really showing up in the story canonically and making an impact, it did a really good job of showing how this character is like different and wiser than others. Lars is very interesting as well because he's fighting so very hard to stop Kazuya, and also he kind of has to carry the whole thing because as we see in trailers, Jin Kazama is dealing with his own demons and turmoils, so a lot of the burden falls on Lars to carry everything. I don't want to compare it to Tekken 6 because it's very different from Tekken 6, but Lars has a major impact in the story and he kind of steals the show. But then here's the thing too about Jin and Zhao Yu. I love this part. Jin and Zhao Yu, in non-canonical cutscenes and, you know, very old cutscenes, we do see the characters interact with one another, but as of recent, these two characters has been so separate, so divided from one another. And in Tekken 8, what I really wanted to see was these two characters be reunited and their relationship developed. Watching Tekken 8, you really get the sense of these two characters know each other. These two characters, their relationship is probably one of the best things about this in a character perspective, not focusing on like the battles or the cutscenes, but simply like character. It really did a good job of showing why everyone is putting Jin and Zhao Yu together, because their arc through the whole entire story was pretty good. Talking a little bit about the battle scenes. This is something else that I also knew. So I think Mortal Kombat has better character development, but I think Tekken 8 has better set pieces, has better battle scenes. In Mortal Kombat, the characters are just talking and kicking and punching. You really don't see them use weapons or destroy anything or explosions. When we first seen the trailer for Tekken 8 and we saw like Jin chokeslam Kazuya through a building, that one thing alone told me that the set pieces would be so much grander in Tekken. And I didn't realize how far they would really push it. I'm kind of like maybe they pushed it too far, because I won't spoil anything, but the ending gets very, very crazy. And I'll talk about that later, what happens there. But I do think just like the way they present a lot of the battles and the way that they have a lot of the characters like fight is so different and dynamic, and you really get a sense of like the characters and their true power. Like, yes, we play the game, we know the move list, but we really don't get to see the destructive force that a lot of these characters possess. And in Tekken 8, you can see that very well. You can see how they stack up against other characters and whatnot. Probably my favorite part in the whole story is the tournament arc. Once again, if you look at the trailers, we know that this will be taking place, but the way that they did it is just so perfect. Like, it really highlights like many different characters, many different moments. It gives a sense of like happiness to a very dark situation. Kazuya says in the trailer, if you don't win this tournament, your whole place will be destroyed. Not only you, but your region. But then when you watch the tournament, it's like a party. It's like a fiesta. It's like everyone is facing annihilation, yet so many people within the Tekken world is like celebrating. They're like embracing the chaos. It's like, it was a really cool moment. That probably was my favorite. That whole arc. And Kazuya's role in Tekken 8, it was very straightforward. We really didn't get to see much development out of him, but we did get to see the best out of him. Like the best Kazuya, the strongest Kazuya. One of my biggest criticisms is like, I read a lot about these characters, but I don't really see it. I read that Kazuya, and then also too, you could go back to like Tekken 5 and stuff like that with the intro of Kazuya and Heihachi fighting the Jack robots. Like, there is certain moments where these characters really do battle, but even with Tekken 7, even with Tekken 6, I never really saw something that Kazuya did and was like, wow, like, I get why this is the big bad. I get why he's the strongest. I get why everyone wants to take him down. In Tekken 7 and Tekken 6, in my opinion, you don't get that feeling. But with Tekken 8, they really show you like, this guy is a threat. This guy is a monster. This is what I wanted, is for them to build him up and show why it's kind of impossible to take him down. Show why this guy is such a threat. They really did a good job with his portrayal as the bad guy. The characters did a very good job at being themselves. Like, whatever you think Kazuya is, Jin is, Xiaoyu, Lee, King, Steve, like whatever you think the character is, they were that, but they really didn't change or develop or become something else. They kind of just stayed themselves and just did that throughout the whole story. And I feel like a story, you're supposed to see the progression of characters. Minds change, ideologies progress, and we really didn't see that for any other characters besides, I would say, Jin. Oh, what I was gonna say too, Devil Jin. I really love what they did for Devil Jin. Devil Jin was really cool. Really cool. I was thinking about a 1 out of 10 score to give it, and I would probably give it a 6. I don't know. I would give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like there's definitely some things they could have done differently to bring more out of characters. It really is just like a straight shot like Tekken. They don't really try to like, you know, tell a grander story or give you any curveballs or plot twist or anything. They do, but yeah, see, okay, yeah, that's it. I can't say more. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.